Welcome to the Father Focus podcast.
Father Focus.
Check.
Why are we talking about this? Why does it matter?
So shaping your kids into powerful people.
Bro, let that brother fly.
Check.
All right, let's
You
go.
ready?
All right, let's go. I'm with myself. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of the Father Focus podcast. We are so excited to be able to speak with you and just to kind of talk about being a
Come
dad.
on now. Yes,
So
sir.
listen, want to thank you for listening. My name is Jeremy, and I'm with my partner, Jermaine.
What's up,
Jermaine,
everybody?
how's it going?
Going well, man. It's nice. It's not too hot here in Nebraska. I don't know about Louisiana, but it's all right here.
Louisiana weather is crazy. You can never actually, what can I
Predict it.
say? Yeah, predict the weather. Nope, not at all. But again, hey, thank you for tuning in, all of you who are with us today. And hey, listen, do me a favor. Just go ahead and if you enjoy today's content, I would love to just ask for you to subscribe to this podcast, whatever platform you're on. We're available on all of them. So again, thank you. Like it, share it, and help us get out this content, especially if it blesses you. So thank you so much. Today we're with a good friend of ours who is an evangelist. He is a minister of the gospel, and actually my former youth pastor. I actually came to know the Lord under his youth ministry long 20 plus years ago. Yeah. And so today his name's Bernie Moore, and he does gospel crusades all over Africa, and they have these massive campaigns. They'll have 100,000 people come, and they're doing an awesome job seeing people saved, set free, healed. They're doing a great job. And so, Bernie, hey, we welcome you to the show. Thank you so much for being with us. Man, tell us a little bit about what's going on in your world and your ministry.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. I am so grateful to be here on your podcast, you and Dane, of course, Nathan. But it's a great blessing to be with you. Hopefully, all the listeners will get something great out of today, out of our discussion. But it's been wonderful. God has been very gracious to us. Yes, we've done our gospel crusades all over the world, primarily in Africa, but other places as well as India and Pakistan and South America and so forth. So we're very grateful. We've seen a lot of people come to Christ through the preaching of the gospel, and it's a real honor that God allows us to do this, and it's an honor to be with you guys. And so just thank you for having me.
Well, man, look, I actually got to travel with Bernie to two different countries. We went to South Sudan and then India. I went to India with you, and I tell you what, it was an absolute blast. I look forward to going again in Jesus' name. Listen, before we get started, tell us a little bit about your family.
So I married my high school sweetheart, Nicole. She led me to the Lord. First time I had gone to church, the Lord arrested me. All my preconceived ideas of faith and walking with Christ and so forth were completely stripped away. And I have literally, obviously, never been the same since that day. So, we've been married now for 22, going on 23 years. But I met her when I was 17 and she was almost 16. So what was it, a month away before her 16th birthday. So we have, been together ever since. And so, we have three beautiful kids. My oldest is a junior at Oral Roberts University. And then my middle one, she's a senior in high school here in Prosper at North Dallas. And then, of course, my youngest guy, Caleb, he's a freshman in high school. So, and that's where we are right now.
Yeah, I've always loved, and I've said this to you before, Bernie, I've always loved watching you as a dad. Definitely one of the reasons you're on with us today. So, but before we get into some of the actual content here, I got a quick question I got to ask you. If your life was being portrayed in a movie, what actor would be playing you? What actor would be playing you in your life's movie?
It was the setup.
Man, that's a setup. You know, I don't know a lot of actors, to be honest. It's not a cop out. I just don't know a lot. I mean, obviously, you got I guess the A-listers.
The superstars. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, give us one of those. Who would you have?
I was going to say, I would either say, and I'm going to say this guy because I just saw a movie he was in and it was really good. So I would say either Chris Hemsworth.
Okay. Oh man, going for the jacked guy, huh? Thor?
No, well, I just thought it was a good. I thought he was, yeah. Or maybe even.
He thinks he's a god. Everybody. I'm joking.
Maybe I don't know the other guy. What's the guy?
Dude,
Mark
I got one
Wahlberg.
for you.
Who's
okay,
that?
Mark
Wahlberg.
Mark Wahlberg,
Yeah.
because I just saw Uncharted with Caleb and the kiddos.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought
Yeah.
it was pretty good. He did a good job on that. So,
Hey, I think I got one for you. And
Okay,
all
who?
of our listeners who know you
Oh, here we
personally,
go.
they
Oh,
may
no,
agree.
Jermaine.
No.
Oh,
What's he gonna say?
Chris Pratt.
Okay.
Oh,
And
yeah,
the reason
okay,
I
yeah,
say
yeah.
that is
Okay.
because
That's a
he's
good one.
humorous. He's
I
got a
can
good
see-
in the
yeah.
movie. He's got a good sense of humor, and
That's
Bernie
really good.
Moore is
I can see that.
hilarious. He's got this ability to
see
be
that.
very serious and be silly all at the same time, and it's awesome.
That-
Anyway,
okay,
I thought he was.
think
I thought he was
I'm
gonna make a jab at you, Bernie. But that
No.
was
I
was like, oh, where we going?
Well,
He
it was
knows
since
me
you.
enough to do that. So
Yeah, so since you went with two, it's either going to be Chris Pratt or Pee Wee
did.
Herman.
Oh,
yeah, that's why that. Yeah,
I'm just
Just-
kidding. I'm just
just
kidding.
right when we were doing a good job.
that's right.
No,
I
I'm
would
just
go with
kidding.
his suggestion of Chris Pratt. Yeah.
Okay, let's do it. All right. So just to jump on into this, we're going to just throw a couple questions out at you and just, however you'd like to answer. But the first thing that I guess I'd like to just ask and kind of know is, being an evangelist, we probably have a lot of people who may work, they may have to go out of town. And obviously being an evangelist, doing what you do, as we said, going to India and Africa, all over Africa, Pakistan, different countries, you can't go do that. It's not an 8-hour day to the office and I'll see the kids at night. It takes you 13 hours to get to one place, right? So you're there for a week. So I guess my question has to do with, as a traveling evangelist, as somebody who travels for a living, how do you foster your relationship with your kids?
Okay, so that is an excellent question. And I would say, I think it's a combination of different things, because we're all evolving, right? Especially kids from, obviously the time of birth and really that formidable early ages of, 3, 4, 5, where they're just, kids are like sponges. They just soak it all up. And so they literally watch everything that you do. And I've noticed in my own kids, and I'm sure you guys have noticed this with your kids, but there are times where I'm watching them from a distance, and I know that they're also watching me from a distance as well. And so they're, from me, and I tell my wife all the time, I want to be consistent. So I don't want to be like super high and then super low, because that breeds confusion for kids. Well, which one is it? What is he? So I try my best, and I don't always pass the test, but I try my best to be really consistent.
Yeah, it's good.
Also, when I'm not traveling and I'm home, and I saw this a lot in 2020, obviously, because really nobody could go anywhere. I want to be really present. I really want to be present. And so, as difficult as it is, especially these days, it's so easy to get distracted. And I think one of Satan's greatest tools is using distraction. So everybody can get a hold of you right from your phone, right? Your phone is a computer times 10, and it's in the palm of your hand. So you're constantly being pulled on, called, texted, emails being shot back. You're always accessible. And sometimes the people that you need to be the most accessible to are the ones that suffer the most, because you're the least accessible to.
Right.
Wow.
So
wow.
And so for me, I and my wife does a great job of sort of helping me with this and putting me in check a lot of times. And that is, and that is putting the phone away, because we just get so used to it being in our pocket, in our hands.
Right. Yep.
So sometimes we just need to put it on the table or put it in the little foyer and walk away
Mhm.
for a while,
Mm,
because whatever people need of you, it's not nearly as important as those three little kids need from their father. The voice, the father's voice is heavier and more prominent and impactful than any other voice in the world. So
mm.
for me, I'm saying, so for whoever's trying to pull on me, and it's a lot of times it's good stuff. It's things that need
Yeah.
our attention.
Yep.
Not that it's just silly, nonsense, but none of it, to me at least, none of it is more important than the ministry that I have first and foremost, and that is to my wife and kids.
Awesome. So
Yeah, it's
how
good.
does it practically work? Like if you go out of town, let's, say, what's the next crusade you
Uh,
have?
so so we're going. I'm traveling in September, but I'm going over to Africa again in October. Yeah.
Okay.
So actually, I'm
So,
going to South Korea and then Uganda.
okay. So when you take that trip, like if you're going
Mhm.
to be gone for, I don't know, 7, 8 days that you might
Yeah.
normally go, like
Yep.
how,
8 or 9 days.
do you
Yep.
normally, yeah, how do you normally like, what's your routine like? Do you stay
So
with your kids? Like, hey,
yeah,
I'm leaving tomorrow, so your butts better be home.
yeah. So I try leading up to the the day that I have to leave home. I try to spend at least 2 days prior at home, you know,
Okay.
with the kids. Go pick them up
Just
from school. Go get them ice
devoted.
cream. Just
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
and and then of course we typically leave on a Monday, sometimes a Tuesday, um, but I try to use that weekend so it's kind of easy. So that Friday, Saturday, Sunday, just really
Family
intentional.
time.
See, yeah,
Yeah.
family time. Intentionality is so vital. So
Mhm.
I know Jermaine likes to work out. You have to be intentional with your time. You
Mhm.
got to carve out, because if you don't carve it out, other things will carve out your time for you.
Yeah.
So
Mm,
you have to be intentional with that time. Like, I'm going to take my son to get a pizza or something, and it might
mm,
even, honestly, and a lot of times this is the truth. And I know you guys can relate to this, but a lot of times it's not even necessarily something I want to do. But if he's interested, I'm going to do it. He
mm.
wanted to go to a card shop recently. So I had no desire at all to drive 30 minutes down the road to this one particular, card shop. And anyway, but we did it,
Yeah.
and that
For
meant the
him.
world to him. Yeah.
Yep.
And so I just try to do those type of things. And then of course with the girls, it's different because their needs are different. So
Hey,
yeah,
tell us
I
real
always
quick. Tell us. Oh, you already told us, but tell us again their ages.
so Caitlin's 20 and Claire is about to be 18 in 2 weeks, three
Wow.
weeks.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
3 weeks. She'll be
Two
18. So
girls and a son.
two girls and a son. Yeah.
Yeah. Which leads to the next question that I want to ask is, okay, so I have a son, I have three daughters. Nathan has
Wow.
two daughters. How many daughters do you
Yeah.
have, Jeremy? I'm sorry, I can't remember.
I have three.
Three.
Three. Okay. Jeremy's got 12 kids. I'm joking. Anyway, but all that to say, like, what have you learned, like, being a dad of daughters, right?
Yeah.
What has that taught you as a father?
Jermaine, honestly, and Jeremy will tell you this, I've cried a lot. I was
Mm.
never a crier. I was never a crier. I was born and raised in South Louisiana, you know, tough Cajun guys that,
Come on now.
but between the Lord and my girls, they're more emotional. And I say that in a good way. It's just, and they're very sensitive. They have very sensitive hearts. Have very sensitive spirits. And so I, I'm very mindful of that, and I want to nurture that.
Mm.
Mhm.
So as you know, with each kid, you kind of do things or approach things a little differently. So with Caleb, with the boys, or in his case with my boy, sometimes I'll have to tell him something, and then he'll say, well, "What? Why are we doing that?" Or Dad, what? So he'll come back with 3 or 4 questions. With the girls, it's like, okay, all right.
Mhm.
So for them, it's a you say something one time, they get it, they're all in. Okay, with him, it's I'll think about it and then I'll decide. And then I say, well, I'll think about withholding this whooping from you. You don't get to it real quick. but girls are so fun. They really are. They're a lot of fun. And I think, from the time of them being, I don't know, early on, I mean, I want to say literally like 2, 3, 4 years old or whatever, I could instantly see the nurturers that God had created them to be. And just the sensitivity and the caring and the love that they have for everyone and everything. So with that said, you never want to see their little hearts hurting, or, they're so fragile. You don't want to see the world or friends or anyone else take advantage of that. And I don't even mean that in a bad way, but it's so easy.
Yeah.
So for me as a dad, I always want to make sure that if it's Barbie dolls or going to get an ice cream, my oldest loves ice cream, so if it's taking her to the store to get ice cream and just be with her, that's, that means the world to me. It blesses me more than it does them.
Yeah. So what you're saying is, as specifically, like as a girl dad, like you have a son, but as the two girls, it's almost like they've tapped into something in you that otherwise would not have been tapped into, and they're drawing something that is good, because that's what you said, the sensitive side. It is good, it is godly, and they've tapped into that and allowed maybe to give you a context for expression, whereas your dad's a tough man, you're a tough man too, but they were able to do something in you that otherwise wouldn't have been done. That's interesting. I would probably say I'm there too. I mean, I got 3 girls, and that's definitely part of the experience that I've had, just being with them, being sensitive, and just, coming alongside a little child who is a female is an absolute marvelous thing for me. But so what, I guess, like that question, but a little bit different. What would you say God has taught you? So the girls have kind of drawn that out of you and taught you some things. What has God taught you specifically about being a dad? Is there something you'd say that you would just kind of pinpoint a couple things for us?
I would probably say 2 or 3 things. Number one, grace. God has taught me a lot of grace with the girls, grace, unmerited favor, a love that I have for them that I didn't know existed, honestly. And part of that is just an understanding of the Father's love for us. God's great, infinite, indescribable love for us. And really, it's unsearchable when he gives his one and only son for us sinners, to die for us, and not only die, but to die the death that he died. There's a depth of love there that can't be explained. And that's sort of how it is for not only my kids, but really my girls as well. It's just a depth of love that you have that it's hard to really explain. So the grace part of that has been huge. The other thing I would say, in regards to the girls, to the previous question that I wanted to touch on and I forgot, but is time. Time is everything for them. So it's like, they love gifts, and it's all fine and dandy and it's wonderful, but time, just being with them is like their greatest love language. I just want to spend time with you, Dad. What do you want to do? You want to go walk around the block? You want to go watch a movie? So it's the time issue. Now, going back to the current question, I would say grace. The other thing I would say is forgiveness. Honestly, forgiveness has been, and Jeremy, my story, but forgiveness. The Lord has taught me a tremendous amount of forgiveness, because you see your kids, and they do silly stuff. They make mistakes. And it's, for me, it's kind of laughable, because I feel like God has given us 3 really great kids. They were nothing like I was. I mean, thank God.
That's for certain, everybody.
Thank you, Jesus. but
Yeah.
but through that, just watching them grow, I've seen a tremendous amount of forgiveness from the Father displaying to me. And then, when they mess up, I kind of laugh because it's little, it's little things. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh man, it's amazing. So yeah, those two things kind of mixed together. Of course, bonded in love is just incredible.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's so good. So with that, so I'm going to ask you this question. So how do men, we're talking about fathering. How do men get a vision for fatherhood that keeps them motivated? It's as a dad, it's not always easy. We can get on here and share the highlight reel if we want to, but there's challenges. There's times where it's gritty. What would you say to our listeners out there that, again, how do we get a vision for fatherhood that keeps them motivated?
Man, Jermaine, that is a really loaded question because, I don't know if it's just one or two things you could say.
Mm-hmm.
Great question. I think the first thing that comes to my mind is, and just the first thing that comes to my mind is looking at the Father of fathers,
Mm-hmm.
looking at the way God has loved, what kept God motivated to save us when we literally, we
Mm-hmm.
didn't deserve, not only did we not deserve it, but it was like we were the furthest thing or the furthest, creatures
Mm-hmm.
or of all his creation. But he loved us, and his expression of being a father to us, his children, his sons, his daughters, is literally something that the English language can't adequately describe. So I think that's the first thing that keeps me motivated, is knowing that I have a heavenly Father that is always ready and willing and longing, in a sense, to be with
Mm-hmm.
me, to listen to me, to just sit with me. Every morning when I do my devotions, the Lord, I just sense an overwhelming peace and grace. So from that, if I look in the mirror and I say, okay, what's going to motivate me? I think the thing that, besides obviously my heavenly Father, I think is that I look, just 20 years down the road and I say, man, what are my kids going to say about me? That motivates me. I want to be the best father, because when when you read a book, the first chapter never tells the full story. You got to get to the end of the book to really get a glimpse or an understanding of how the story unfolds. And that's for
Right.
me, when my kids look at the end of the book, what are they going to say
Wow.
about me?
That's
What are
really
they,
good.
what are they going to say about their father? The one that they lived with, that raised them, that saw them, that prayed with them, that cried with them, that laughed, that, disciplined them when it was time and that needed to be addressed. At the end of the book, what do they say? What are
Mm-hmm.
they going to say about Bernie Moore? And I don't care what the world says, and I care about what my friends say, but I really care about my kid. What are my kids going to say? And that keeps me motivated to be, or at least try to be, the best
Yeah.
version of me and the best father that I can be.
Right. I asked
Man.
that question. Go ahead, Jeremy. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was
What were
just
you
gonna
saying? Yeah.
honestly, I was just gonna say that is a very interesting perspective to
Mhm.
stay motivated to for the longevity of it, and
Mhm.
to know that this is not a sprint; it's a marathon,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
to find the endurance to run the 24 miles or however long a marathon is.
Too long.
Too
Too long.
long.
Too long.
But to get motivated to do that, like for somebody like
Right.
me who has no interest in running, I don't even know how long it is. I don't want to know. Like Jermaine says, I don't even care. It's too long. But in life, we don't get the option. We get the
Yeah.
Mhm.
privilege of doing this with the kids. And you're saying, again, I'm paraphrasing what you're saying, is that I am having the foresight to look all the years down the road, and I want the people that are closest to me
Mhm.
to say, man, I had a good dad,
Yeah.
Yes.
and
Yes.
he was a good father to us and to your children's children.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
great. I think that's a great motivating factor.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I asked that question, we asked that question because, to our listeners out there, like Jeremy said, that this is not a sprint, right? And
Yeah.
in our culture, there's not a clear clarion call to men to be good fathers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just being honest, there's no agenda here, but just there's not. And so,
Yeah.
you know, thank you for your answer. And we asked that question because, again, oftentimes it's, we're worried about duty and providing, and when we get in the shuffle of responsibility and the things to do,
and selfishness.
What's that? Yeah, and
selfishness.
Yeah, and so it gets lost in the shuffle. Go ahead, Jeremy.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, honestly, how many times have we made selfish, and we're all guilty, and I mean, I know I am, and sometimes after I make a selfish decision, I look at my family or kind of just behind me, like, well, what are we going to do? And I'm like, dang it, like I was the center of that decision. And one of the things that, like what you're saying, Bernie, and again, we all make that decision, but one of the things that'll help us not be that way is looking at the end from the beginning, from right now, and say, man, I've got to not be selfish. I want to push hard. And then also to remember, and I would say, if I were answering the question, what motivates me, I would say, like what you're saying, but then also remembering you only have your kids for a short period of time.
Yes.
I mean, Caitlin's 20 years old. That's crazy. I remember when she was born. I feel like it was yesterday. And like, here she is. You know, we just went and saw you guys, and like looking at her and listening to her talk and how much wisdom she has. And I'm like, dang, where's the little girl? You know, she ain't there anymore.
Right.
You know, but to say it's like it's a short window. And that's definitely another one of those things. Like, you have a short time to do it right. So, and in the midst of
I was going to say, I was thinking about, as you were talking to this analogy, men love sports, and Jermaine, I don't know, you don't have to tell me your age. I don't know your ages, but I know Jeremy's not too far away from being 40, and I'm over 40 now. And so I would say, you remember Tom Brady in the Super Bowl years back when he was playing Atlanta, and they were down, I think it was 25 or so to 3, or give or take a few.
28-3, bro.
28-3.
Okay, 28-3. Okay. So what kept him motivated to play the second half? I mean, he's only got 30 minutes of football left. I mean, why not in the locker room just say, guys, I'm sorry. It's just not our day. It's not our night.
Better luck next year.
Better luck. We had a great season. You know, we put up a lot of records, but tonight's just not our night. No, for some reason, he had the opposite look or view. He said, look, we got 30 minutes more of football. We can turn this thing around. It's only halftime. You know,
come on, that's good.
It's kind of like that for us as fathers, as men,
that's good.
I read a statistic a while back that said the average lifespan for a man was around the age of 78 to 82. So if you think of, hey, you hit 40, you're kind of halfway done. And the reality is, it's just halftime. You know, we can really finish the game and the race really strong. We can go out on a win. You make some mistakes in your 20s and 30s. Hey, it's okay. People forgive you. God forgive. But let's finish strong. Let's finish with everything we have. Let's do all that we can to be a blessing to, first and foremost, our Father, and then secondly, to the people that are on our team, our kids, our wife, our close friend, and let's win this game.
Awesome, dude. Great question. So just a kind of another different of an angle from being motivated. What inspires you to be the best dad you're capable of? Because obviously we know the comparison game is not a good one. It's good to kind of glean, like I've gleaned from you, but what inspires you or motivates you to be the best dad you can be?
I would say, I would say the thing that inspires me the most, honestly, and it's not cliche to say this, but the thing that inspires me the most is the kids, each one of them themselves. Because I want them to be the best they can be. And it's kind of like Michael Jordan used to say, I wouldn't be who I was without Phil Jackson. I want to be the best coach. I want to encourage them, inspire them, lead them properly. Yeah. I want to meet them where they are. And again, they're all different. So they all take different, it's different ways to nurture them and to raise them and teach them and lead them. However, I know what each one of them needs. And so I want to be the best coach, father version of me that I can be, so that they can become the best version of themselves and really do something great in life. And so they actually are the inspiration for me being the best dad I can be.
Oh, that's awesome, dude. Listen, so as we wrap this episode up, this is one thing that I want to do, and I want to ask, we did it with Eric Gilmore on our last episode. what I would like to do for you, it's just going to be kind of a rapid fire thing. So I'm going to ask a question. Jermaine's going to ask.
Jermaine, this is dangerous.
Yeah, you're
And-
safe. You're safe. I got you.
Yeah, no, it's just whatever comes to your mind first. First answer. Okay. All right.
Okay.
So what's your favorite part about being a dad?
Oh, my kids.
Okay. All right. What's your biggest challenge as a dad?
Consistency.
Okay.
Oh, wow. That's good.
That's
Wow.
a good one.
Okay. First thoughts when you found out that Nicole, your wife, your first thoughts when you found out that Nicole was pregnant, if you can remember,
I was scared. Fear.
fear.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you fainted.
Right.
Okay.
I was scared, and then I fainted.
Yeah. Okay. Fail moment as a dad. Just it was a
Oh,
moment.
Pick one, huh?
yeah.
And it could be
Too
brief.
many. Failed moment. So not one word, just a moment. Early on, I would get man, Jermaine. I would say early on, I would get impatient too quickly.
Mm.
I didn't have patience. I would lose my patience quickly.
Oh yeah, I got that.
A big fail moment, because nothing good comes out of that.
Bro.
After you've lost your patience,
I don't want to talk about this anymore.
Nothing good comes.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, yeah, we all.
Yeah, and
there's
they suffer
every
the most
single
from
one of
it.
us. I think every single one of us could that's going to be on our list. Definitely a top fiver, especially because kid, they don't know how to do things. They don't understand what we're always saying, and we, especially like impatient people like myself, like, oh man, I need grace. All right, final question. What's one thing that you do that has made the biggest impact on your kids?
I think now, the thing that I've prayed for the most is understanding. I try to understand them. For instance,
Okay.
my girls used to tell me all the time, "Dad, you just don't understand where I'm coming from," and they were right. So I took a different perspective. Lord, teach me to understand. Solomon talked a lot about wisdom and understanding.
Yeah.
So I pray for that with the kids. Give me a heart of understanding, so I know what it is they need of me and from me. So they don't care about how much I know. They just want to know how much I care. And in order to do that, I got to understand where they are and where they're coming from
Man,
and what they
that's
need
good.
and where they,
Ooh,
where
man,
I'm
that's
falling
cool.
short. So I always pray, God teach me, give me a heart of understanding so I can better father them.
Yeah, well, that's good, man. That's great. Well, Bernie, once again, I want to just say thank you so much for taking some time and hanging out with us. And we appreciate it so much. Tell me
I
real
love you
quick,
guys.
if you could just tell our listeners real quick how they can connect with you specifically.
Yeah, if they could just go to our website, BernieMooreMinistries.com, and they could shoot me an email. Those emails come right to me. Just because I like to pray for our partners, I like to pray for our friends. If there's any sort of prayer needs or request, or you just want to see what we're doing around the world and stuff, that would be a great blessing as well. So if you could just check out our website, that would be great. Or you can follow us on social media too at Bernie Moore.
Social media. So Bernie Moore, BernieMooreMinistries.com. Check him out. Once again, thank you all so very much for taking the time and checking us out at the Father Focus podcast. We hope you have been encouraged. If you've enjoyed this, I would love for you to just do us a favor. Listen, like, subscribe, share it. We want to get the word out. We want to be ones who are raising up and encouraging fathers. So again, thank you so much. We look forward to seeing you on our next episode. Bernie, thanks again.
Love you guys. Thanks for having me.